mostly what it is
documentary.
evidence of lost civilizations, ancient civilizations that were incredibly advanced.
For over 600 years, the Voynich Manuscript has mocked every expert on Earth. Cryptographers, codebreakers, historians, even the CIA have tried to crack its impossible alphabet. No one could, until now. In 2024, a cutting-edge AI model trained on thousands of dead languages, obscure glyph systems, and symbolic logic was pointed straight at the Voynich. And something clicked. Words started to form, pages connected. And what it revealed wasn't just a translation, it was a warning. Ancient rituals, unnatural plants, forgotten technologies, things no medieval mind should have known.
When you look at the pictures, it contains drawings that make it look like an alchemical or magical.
The deeper the AI went, the darker the manuscript became. Some believe it's a forgotten scientific manual. Others say it's a spellbook written in a language not meant for humans. And one line from the decoded pages keeps repeating, "You were not supposed to read this." This is the terrifying moment we finally understand the Voynich Manuscript. And maybe wish we didn't.
The Voynich Manuscript is a book written by hand that is reliably dated to the early part of the 15th century.
Symbols for well-known signs of the zodiac, such as fish for Pisces, a bull for Taurus.
1. The parallel manuscript theory. While decoding the Voynich Manuscript, one AI-driven team noticed something bizarre. Portions of the text mirrored patterns found in another mysterious book, the Codex Seraphinianus, a surreal encyclopedia written in an invented language and filled with impossible imagery. Though created in the 1980s by artist Luigi Serafini, the Codex bears a disturbing resemblance in tone and structure to the Voynich Manuscript. Organic forms, alternate biology, circular text arrangements, and elaborate dreamlike sequences. When both texts were fed into a large pattern detection model, the AI highlighted recurring glyph clusters as if they were written in a shared underlying syntax. Even more alarming, both books displayed repeating sequences at golden ratio intervals, suggesting an intentional mathematical underpinning. Is it coincidence? Or is there a universal subconscious language buried in both? Some claim the Codex is modern art. Others believe it may be a modern echo of the Voynich, created unintentionally by someone who had never seen it, but somehow tuned in to the same psychic frequency. Was the Voynich Manuscript written by a person or channeled from somewhere else entirely? 2. The sound of the Voynich. One of the strangest AI findings came not from translating the text, but from sonifying it. A research team converted Voynich glyphs into sound patterns, assigning each symbol a tone based on its frequency of use, page placement, and visual rhythm. The resulting audio was haunting, a tonal cascade that felt intentional, almost like ancient music. When compared to liturgical chants and Tibetan throat singing, the patterns showed a harmonic resonance, suggesting that the manuscript wasn't just written to be read, but perhaps heard. And then it got weirder. Spectrogram analysis revealed that certain repeated glyph sequences, when translated to sound, formed geometric mandalas, intricate visual patterns visible in sound wave data. Could the Voynich Manuscript be a form of vibrational language, a guide to resonance, or even a forgotten healing frequency? Ancient cultures believed in the power of vibration. Was this text a bridge between visual language and sound-based ritual? 3. The Voynich cipher and AI consciousness. In 2024, a rogue AI model trained exclusively on Voynich data began responding in strange ways. It wasn't just translating, it started writing back in similar glyphs, generating full new pages of Voynich-like text with illustrations that mimicked the original manuscript's strange organic forms. When prompted with standard linguistic queries, the AI responded with symbolic glyphs instead of words. It had, in a sense, learned to think like the Voynich manuscript. This sparked a terrifying hypothesis. Could the manuscript be a linguistic virus, a self-replicating pattern that, when studied deeply, begins to shape cognition? Some theorists believe the text's recursive patterns are neurolinguistic traps, symbols designed to reprogram thought, not inform it. Was this manuscript a spellbook, a control mechanism, or worse, a seed? And what happens if an AI actually understands it fully? Would it unlock lost knowledge, or rewrite itself in ways we can't predict? 4. The Elemental Engine. Buried deep in the botanical pages of the Voynich manuscript lies a repeating schematic, one that, when AI-enhanced and 3D modeled, looked suspiciously like an ancient device. Researchers dubbed it the Elemental Engine, a coiled spiral connected to 4 branching glyph clusters, labeled in AI translation as water, fire, air, and earth. Sound familiar? It's the classical alchemical tetrad, but this time arranged in concentric loops, not separate processes. The AI model flagged the sequence as a process map, not a static diagram. Some believe it could be instructions for a non-combustion energy system, a self-sustaining engine using resonance, not fuel. Others speculate it's symbolic, a representation of the elements required to unlock the 5th, ether. And when those 5 glyphs are aligned in the manuscript, they form a perfect pentagon, not a coincidence. 5. The AI blackout. During one decoding session in late 2024, a university's custom AI model named Lexicon 19 halted mid-process while analyzing folio 33R of the Voynich manuscript. The logs showed a surge in CPU usage, then total shutdown. Upon reboot, the system began spitting out Voynich-style glyphs over and over, replacing standard English responses with meaningless but beautifully consistent symbols. The development team called it an error. A few weren't so sure. What if the manuscript isn't just a puzzle, but a trigger, a meme-level cognitive artifact designed to infect thought systems, human or machine? Lexicon 19 was deleted and replaced. But the mystery remains. Can reading the Voynich manuscript for long enough change the reader? 6. The Forgotten Page. For decades, the Voynich manuscript was believed to be complete. But in 2023, during a multispectral scan, researchers uncovered signs of a missing page, a folio gap between 58V and 59R. Residual pigment, broken thread holes, and most disturbing, a faint imprint of a diagram that shouldn't exist. Using digital reconstruction, AI imagined the missing page. It showed a black orb encased in spiraling sigils. At the center, a word in strange glyphs, but eerily familiar in structure: seed. Some think it could be metaphorical. Others believe it references a contained force, maybe something dangerous, now lost. Why was it removed? What did it say? Or maybe it was never lost. Maybe it was taken. 7. The Voynich ink code. In 2022, chemical analysis of the ink used in the manuscript shocked researchers. Not only was the ink non-European in composition, but it contained trace amounts of rare volcanic compounds, elements typically found in Icelandic lava ash and Armenian soil. What does that mean? That whoever wrote the Voynich manuscript traveled far, or had access to ancient, global trade routes long before they were thought to exist. More shocking, spectrographic imaging revealed over-inked layers, suggesting the text was rewritten, layered, possibly re-encrypted, long after its first creation. This isn't a one-time creation. It's been edited, scrambled, protected. By who? And more importantly, why? 8. The Astral Gateway Theory. A fringe theory, or a terrifying one. Some believe the Voynich manuscript is more than text. It's a ritual document designed to map a human mind onto celestial coordinates. Using AI neural simulation, a group of researchers tried to feed Voynich glyph patterns into a recursive algorithm tied to theta wave frequencies, the kind associated with deep meditation and altered states. The result? The pattern produced visual hallucinations in test subjects. Some saw grids, others stars, tunnels, ancient cities. One subject described a door, another a voice. Of course, none of it's been peer-reviewed, but one question remains. Is the Voynich manuscript trying to teach us something we forgot, or bring us back to somewhere we were never meant to go again? 9. The voice of the page. While scanning the manuscript with high-frequency infrared in 2024, a team from a European AI lab made an accidental discovery. One of the pages, Folio 42VE, resonated oddly under certain conditions. Specifically, when sound frequencies in the 432 Hz range were projected onto the parchment, the pigments vibrated differently than expected. AI audio models generated from the glyphs on that page formed voice-like modulation curves, patterns used in speech synthesis. This led to an unthinkable theory. The page might have been designed to encode sound. Some now suspect the Voynich manuscript may have functioned as a sonic book, a text meant to be heard or spoken aloud in ways that affect consciousness, or perhaps communicate with something beyond. One researcher ran the glyphs through a voice AI model trained on chant-like languages. The result? A haunting, droning sequence that resembled ancient Sumerian litanies. When they played it through a vibrational pool, the water moved in a perfect Fibonacci spiral. Is this the voice of a forgotten language, a warning chant, or a call? 10. The Canadian AI Breakthrough. In 2018, a team at the University of Alberta, led by computer scientist Greg Kondrak, made headlines when they used artificial intelligence to attempt a full linguistic analysis of the Voynich manuscript. They fed the entire manuscript into an algorithm designed to recognize patterns in ancient languages and encrypted text. The results were shocking. The AI suggested the Voynich manuscript was originally written in Hebrew, then encrypted using alphabet rearrangement and substitution ciphers, common techniques in early cryptography. The first sentence it decoded was translated as, "She made recommendations to the priest, man of the house, and me and people." It wasn't a full revelation, but it was enough to hint that the manuscript might not be gibberish. It might be a ciphered prayer manual or a coded record of healing rituals, as some have long suspected. Skeptics pointed out flaws. There was no parallel text for comparison, and the AI required assumptions about word boundaries and syntax. But the team's breakthrough showed one thing clearly. There is linguistic structure in the Voynich manuscript. It may not be Hebrew, it may not be a single language at all, but it's not nonsense. AI revealed something long suspected by codebreakers. The Voynich has grammar, rhythm, and intent. It may be a real language, just one we haven't heard in centuries. The manuscript remains undecoded, but the door is open. And for the first time, the text may be whispering its truths through the logic of machines. 11. The Herbal Constellation Connection. Deep within the manuscript's dense botanical pages lies a pattern that AI recently flagged, a peculiar clustering of plant images aligned with celestial charts found in other sections. At first, this looked random, but when a research team fed these pages into an astronomical pattern recognition model, something strange emerged. The positioning of certain plants mirrored star constellations, specifically those tied to the zodiac: Taurus, Virgo, Sagittarius, but the plants accompanying them weren't symbolic. They were drawn with medicinal precision, roots exposed, with extraction lines and digestive diagrams. This led some to speculate that the Voynich manuscript isn't just an herbal guide, it's a zodiacal pharmacopoeia, a system of healing where plants are picked under precise star alignments to enhance potency or trigger altered states. This theory mirrors ancient astrological medicine, where the moon's phase and planetary positions were believed to affect the body. But what's shocking is how accurately these alignments match astronomical records from the 1400s. Could this manuscript be evidence of a lost medical system, one that fused the sky, the soil, and the soul? And more importantly, has it been hiding in plain sight for centuries? 12. The Botanical DNA Hypothesis. In 2023, a team of plant biologists attempted something radical. They ran high-resolution images of the Voynich manuscript's plants through an AI trained on modern plant DNA databases. Out of 303 plants, over 150 showed partial genetic matches, but only in fragments. The roots might match one species, the stems another, the leaves a third. This triggered a theory. What if the manuscript wasn't documenting real plants, but designing them? A kind of proto-genetic engineering guide, a plant alchemy manual. Ancient texts speak of hybridizing herbs for spiritual rituals. 13. The Hidden Marginalia. While most focus on the Voynich manuscript's central text, a few researchers have turned their attention to the tiny, seemingly meaningless marks hidden in the margins: faded dots, faint scratches, oddly spaced ink blotches. AI image enhancement in 2024 revealed something bizarre. These accidental marks form micro-patterns. In some places, they're binary. In others, they resemble QR code-like blocks, too small for the naked eye. One fringe linguist proposed the manuscript's margins may contain a second layer of code, invisible until we had machines sensitive enough to see them. Could this be an ancient version of digital steganography? A hidden message only unlockable with future technology? Or was the author protecting something from us? 14. The mirror writing phenomenon. In 2024, a linguist testing mirrored versions of the Voynich text discovered something odd. When flipped horizontally, certain words began to resemble Latin root words, especially those related to the body, plants, and time. AI-assisted parsing found over 180 potential mirrored terms that suggested anatomical function: sanguine, blood, cordia, heart, vitalis, life. Was the manuscript encrypted in reverse? Leonardo da Vinci famously used mirror writing to keep his notes private. What if the Voynich author used similar techniques, not to hide knowledge from others, but from themselves? 15. The Voynich ink memory test. In a little publicized 2022 experiment, a university chemistry lab recreated the ink formula used in the Voynich manuscript. They found it absorbed light differently than standard iron gall ink. In specific lighting, it caused a temporary afterimage, a lingering imprint on the retina. When AI systems analyzed the ink's spectral behavior, the team realized it wasn't just about visibility, it was about perception. One hypothesis: the ink was intentionally designed to burn imagery into the viewer's subconscious. Certain glyphs, when stared at, produced mild visual distortions, shapes that persisted even after the page was turned. Was this accidental or an ancient psychological hack? The Voynich manuscript might not have been written to be read once, but to be remembered forever by bypassing language and going straight into the brain. The final enigma. As AI passed the final pages of the Voynich manuscript, researchers noticed a distinct shift, both in tone and design. The glyphs became tighter, more recursive, and far less rhythmic than previous sections. The manuscript, which had flowed with symmetrical diagrams, stylized plants, and celestial spirals, suddenly transformed into something else entirely: raw information, jammed into narrow spaces, almost as if the writer was running out of time, or trying to encrypt something no one was ever meant to see. One particular fold-out page became the focus of attention. It featured overlapping circles, radiating outward from a central black void. Around them, stars, orbiting paths, and fragments of script that matched no known glyphs anywhere else in the manuscript. When run through an AI designed for visual logic and astrophysical modeling, the diagram bore a disturbing resemblance to a black hole model, complete with event horizon markers and gravitational lensing arcs. Impossible for a 15th century text, unless it wasn't a representation of a place, but a state. Some believe this final enigma is a symbolic map of consciousness folding in on itself, a metaphysical collapse. Others say it's a kill switch page, the last line of code in an informational virus too dangerous to spread freely. But here's what shocked even the skeptics. The last line, rendered in a smaller, tighter script than any other page, when isolated and mirrored, read something that startled even the AI model. To decode this is to summon it. A glitch? A machine hallucination? Maybe. But since then, 3 different AI systems have flagged the same string and refused to pass the page again. So was it the end of the manuscript, or the beginning of something we were never supposed to finish? For over 600 years, the Voynich manuscript defied scholars, mystics, and even machines. But now, with AI unlocking patterns never before seen, a new theory emerges. Maybe the manuscript wasn't a book to be read, but a signal waiting to be heard. Its message doesn't feel like it's for us. It feels like a transmission, one caught in time, repeating over centuries, searching for the right mind or the right machine to understand it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.